Welcome to Franchise Bob. Today's briefing is on millennials and franchise business opportunities. Millennials are part of a new and hip generation. This is a generation that sees the world very different from their parents. Let's put aside this nonsense of millennials wanting to live in the basement of their parents and not wanting to work. We all know that that's just not true. What we do know is millennials is the most computer and internet savvy generations in history. It is also the generation that is going to run this world. But millennials face some major challenges. What's the biggest challenge? Student loans. Only 3 out of 10 millennials graduate without student loans, and the average loan in 2013 was about $30,000. Now, you and I know that the amount of student loans for most students is much higher than that, and we're not even talking about credit card debt that may have gone along with the student loans. This is making it hard for millennials to start lives, to get married, to buy a house or a car. It's also limiting what types of jobs that they can accept. That brings us to the second major challenge facing millennials. The fact that the jobs aren't out there. Traditional jobs are disappearing, the workforce is changing. The average starting salary right now is about $45,000. And again, that's an average. That means many starting salaries are lower than that, and that's making it difficult, if not impossible, for millennials to earn enough to pay their debts and to live the lives that they would like to live. One solution to this may be starting a franchise business. I now want to talk about the advantages for starting a franchise business. For many people, the main advantage is that you can get ahead while being your own boss. You can use your background and originality, your education, your own ideas to start your own business. There are other important advantages that you need to know about. The main one, the absolute main one, is that starting a franchise business gives you a much higher likelihood of success. Now, why is that? First of all, you're starting a turnkey business. It's already an established business model with a record of success. You don't have to start something from the ground up. You're also starting a business that already has a corporate image and brand awareness. You don't have to spend money on these things. They already exist. You also benefit from marketing. The franchisor company that has set up this business is engaged in marketing, usually national marketing, spending millions of dollars. This is something you don't have to develop. You don't have to do yourself in most cases. You can take advantage of the national marketing to advance yourself. And also very important, it's much easier to obtain financing for a franchise business than a business that you start from the ground up. Now, we're going to talk about raising money for a franchise business in a moment, but this is an important consideration. Let's discuss some other advantages of a franchise business. Training is an important advantage. Franchisor companies will teach you how to be successful with their type of franchise. They will offer periodic training courses to help you be successful once you are a franchisee. Many franchise businesses have exclusive territory, so you're not competing with a franchisee of this company in this exclusive territory. You can also own multiple franchise locations. Franchisor companies highly desire this. They're looking for a talented entrepreneur who can run several of these companies successfully in a certain location. When you look at a franchisor companies, keep in mind they're looking at you not just to buy one business. They're hoping you will buy multiple franchise locations for them. Let's discuss some considerations for starting a franchise business. First of all, before you start a franchise, make sure you've paid your debts. If you have student loans or credit card debts you have not been paying, you'll be at bad risk and the franchisor company will not want to sell to you. There's ways to raise funds for a franchise business, which we'll discuss, but it's important that you be a good credit risk. Experience is helpful, but not always necessary. Many franchisor companies are looking for new blood. They're looking for millennials, people with new ideas to put life into their business. If you've worked in the field of the franchise company you want to franchise, that's going to be helpful, but it's not always necessary. What you do need is a drive to succeed. And part of that drive has to be a business plan. How will you hire the people who will staff your franchise? What will your plan be to raise money, to organize the business? This is a basic part of explaining to the franchisor company why they should pick you. to be the representative of their organization in a franchise area. Funding. Funding is the big obstacle to starting a business. How do you find the funding to start a franchise business? The first thing you do, determine your funding needs. What is your financial situation? What is your credit rating? What are your resources? And what type of business do you want to buy? Do you want to buy a small franchise or maybe a larger one? And we'll get into the different types in a moment. Will the franchisor company provide financing? This is crucial. If this is the case, it's much easier to buy a franchise and you won't have to go to the bank or relatives or friends to raise funds. Now, bank and relatives and friends are a possibility. Look at what your resources are. Are there people out there who are willing to help you get into business? There's third-party financing through companies like GE Capital. Definitely worth checking out. There's also the possibility of angel investors, entrepreneurs who want to help new entrepreneurs like yourself. There's many other possibilities for raising money for a franchise business. Check out an article we have on franchisebob.com, Franchise Funding, where you can find it for your new franchise business. Before we get into low-cost and medium-cost franchise businesses, this is a list of franchise categories. It's not an exhaustive list, but it gives you a general idea of what are the different types of businesses that offer franchises. And in red, we have two types of franchises: home-based businesses and service businesses that tend to have lower startup fees and may be a way for entrepreneurs and millennials entering the job market to get into the franchise field. Now let's discuss some selected top low-cost franchises which we've chosen for your consideration because you're a millennial and you're looking for ground floor opportunities. All these businesses have good training opportunities, good support, and they have low startup costs. Jan Pro is the one that we started out at the beginning. Net worth $1,000 to $14,000. You can run this out of your garage. It's an opportunity to clean businesses, institutional clients. They also are making a lot of news right now because they're starting into green cleaning, ways to clean businesses without poisoning the environment. You could put a team of people together and make a lot of money with Jan Pro. Snap-on Tools is another great opportunity as a low-cost franchise business. You would be given a Snap-on Tools truck. You would not have to work in an office. Snap-on Tools is very popular with businesses, with mechanics. Real opportunity, net worth only $30,000. Jazzercise. Net worth is not a requirement because you will be buying Jazzercise tapes and equipment from the company. You would only need about $5,000 to $77,000 to start a Jazzercise franchise. Cruise planners through American Express Travel. $2,000 to $22,000, only need a net worth of $17,000. ChemDry, which cleans carpets and draperies, $30,000 to $131,000. In startup costs, net worth only $25,000. H&R Block, you have to start an office, so this is not a home-based business, but the startup costs are relatively low, only $32,000 to $150,000. And finally, there's Service Pro, which also can be run out of your garage in most instances, $134,000 to $183,000, net worth $100,000. I now want to discuss the top franchises. These are generally the top franchises in the United States, but they also tend to be the top franchises around the world. Dunkin' Donuts is considered a leading franchise according to Entrepreneur.com. It requires $300,000 to $1.5 million in startup costs and net worth of $250,000. 7-Eleven, also regarded a top American and international franchise, it requires $31,000 to $1.6 million in startup costs and net worth of $127,000. This wide range in startup costs reflects location. If you were to get a franchise in an airport or an urban area, the startup costs are going to be considerably higher because there's much more foot traffic. Subway is generally considered in a different league than the preceding two franchises. It's more affordable. It's also considered an excellent franchise for new entrepreneurs. It may be a little out of your league if you're a millennial coming right into the business, but it might be the best step to go after you acquired a low-cost franchise and build up some investment capital. McDonald's, we're just putting down for your reference, McDonald's is very picky about who they choose. It is really the premier American and international franchise. It requires $1 million to $2.2 million in startup costs and $750,000 in liquid cash. A more reasonable franchise for a new entrepreneur supercuts $103,000, $200,000 in startup costs and a net worth of $300,000. And just to round up the pack for your information, perhaps you might someday try to get a Hampton Hotel franchise. This is owned by Hilton Hotels. For a franchise of this type, you would need $3.6 million to $13 million. The franchise site does not mention what your net worth would be, but I assume the reason is that if you have this much in startup costs, net worth is not going to be an issue. Let's talk about where to find information on franchise opportunities. We believe it's a good idea to go to a franchise broker. They will offer a wide variety of information on different franchise opportunities. They work for you and they'll look at your financial situation, what's available in your area. They're really a great resource. The Small Business Administration and the Federal Trade Commission also offer objective, very valuable information on franchise opportunities as well as how to start a small business. We especially recommend a Federal Trade Commission publication, A Consumer Guide to Buying a Franchise Business. You can find a great deal of valuable information about starting a franchise on the internet. We strongly advise you first go to entrepreneur.com. This is just such a great resource if you want to start a franchise. Every year they put together their Franchise 500, the top 500 franchises in the United States. Many of their franchise listings explain franchise opportunities in other countries. They have very detailed reviews of franchises, requirements to buy a franchise. It is absolutely something you need to check out if you want to buy a franchise. Franchise Gator has very good reviews of franchise opportunities and is exceptionally good at providing ideas on how to buy a franchise based on how much you have to invest. Franchise firm websites, it's crucial to check these out, but bear in mind their objective is to hook you to buy a franchise from their company. Make sure that you compare whatever you read from these websites from objective sources. And naturally, we would like you to check out franchisebob.com. We have very good information on franchise opportunities, franchise brokers, franchise videos, and how to raise funding to buy a franchise. In conclusion, there's a few thoughts we want to leave with you. First of all, a franchise business may be a good opportunity for a millennial who wants to get ahead and be his or her own boss. Second, franchise businesses are affordable, and there are many categories to choose from. And third, there are many resources to help you make your decision on whether to buy a franchise business, but make sure you check these out thoroughly before making your decision. Well, thank you for watching this video. We're hoping you will check out franchisebob.com, and we wish you the best of luck in your new franchise business.